Sometimes you have to do that because the easy challenge is one you'll get lazy with. The big challenge gets you hungry.
Oh, how the tables turn.
That's a heavy topic,
and we need to focus on that. If not for yourself, then do it for your children.
Black book is in
black.
Black
book.
Men Talk, Black Book. What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe show, the home of Epic Conversations, and I'm the host of Epic Conversations, 2018 Innovation Award winner, 2020 Best Podcast News Award winner given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. I also co-host and co-produce the only online show in the world for dads and fathers that's sponsored by Dove Men Plus Care. And since 2020, that team, which I'm a part of, one of the co-leads, has reached out directly and indirectly to over 400,000 dads, fathers, and male caregivers around the world. As always, I'd like to say, pardon me that you're blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. Welcome to Black Men Can Talk, a show where Black Canadian men come together to have real, unfiltered conversations about life, culture, and community. We're broadcasting live on Sunday, February 16th. I guess we can call Toronto Snow Toronto because we've had 3 separate snowstorms since Wednesday night. Like, I can't remember the last time I had to shovel my driveway twice in less than 12 hours. Yeah, I was out early this morning around 10 o'clock, and thank goodness for a snowblower. So if you don't have one and you have winter, I highly recommend you get one. They do make life easier and your back hurt less. So we've been doing that most of the day today, but I made sure I got some exercise. But other than that, haven't gone out much. Went out yesterday, did my grocery shopping by 12 noon, said I ain't coming back out of my yard till at least Monday. And the way it's looking, not till Tuesday. So Black Men, I get all these shows mixed up. Black Men Can Talk, a show where Black Canadian men come together, have real unfiltered conversations about life, culture, and community. One of my co-hosts, Kofi, is here. All right, he is here now. Hello.
Hey, how you doing? Greetings. Having a little trouble with my Facebook today, but it's all good, family.
It's all right. We push on. We push on. How you been this week?
I'm good. A little snowed in, like you say, brother. It's little. This is it. This is Toronto, right? But you know what? It is a blessing. I always tell people in these things, right? Because what I've noticed is, and I'm calling for people to do that, is really to reach out, help our elders, or those who are not able to, be able to shovel their own snow and whatnot. So I've had even my children help some neighbors and whatnot. So yeah, it's a blessing.
Absolutely.
I couldn't believe something though, something that I was not used to, and I'm pretty sure you never experienced. In all the years I've been in this country, going to school, I never had a snow day. So the fact that these kids had a snow day,
yeah, that's true.
There was no snow day.
What? No, I didn't. And even worse, I live, no lie, 2 minutes walk from my public school.
That's it.
But so are we saying the young people today are lax?
I don't know, bro. I was in Ottawa. I went to university in Ottawa.
Oh God!
No snow day either.
No snow. No, in Ottawa. No way in Ottawa. No way. Oh, look who's in the house. Frequency Event Promotions. Good to see you. Good to see you this evening. Also says hi, Dr. Vibe and Sadat. Also says great seeing you, Sadat, with your lovely wife this past week, especially in the storm. Greatly appreciated. Where did you run into him? I never see him. So where do you?
One of the events, man. At one of the events, the networking event. It was incredible. It was incredible, right? So thank you for that.
I guess I should show up for one of these.
I think you should. That being said, I know you're going to be there, so I'm looking forward to that.
I have to make an appearance at one of these things. It's like
yeah.
So
for folks, listen,
was that the event with Danny Stone?
Incredible. Anybody who wants to up their game when it comes to public speaking or your branding and whatnot, I am endorsing our brother Danny Stone. There wasn't a lot of us there. There was a snowstorm, but it was so powerful. What I came away with, I was like, man, this brother really dropped some gems and some
Coach Stone,
tools,
Coach
right?
Stone
So
Coach Stone and his beautiful wife are the real deal. I endorse anything that they're putting out there. So 100%, 100%. Also, Frequency of Rental, it's time to get Dr. Vibe. It is time to get your ticket. Ticket for what?
Ooh, there you
I don't
go.
know what he's putting me on the ball. Okay, that's all right. I don't mind. All right. Yeah, I'm sure in the comments. It's time for me to get my ticket. But yeah, that was cool. So what events, if any of you attended this month for African Heritage Month?
You know what? It's just one of those things where I'm really just kind of promoting and in support of a lot of the things. The only I'll include the networking session because it's all about blackness and beautiful. And I don't know if I mentioned last time I went to the Catholic Children's Aid Society, their Black History Month event, which was incredible.
Okay.
Again, that's something else for people to know. That our young people who are in care and the families that take care of them. It was great to celebrate them. So CCAS Scarborough folks, they put up a great event. It was in the West End.
Where is that located? Their building.
They have moved over the pandemic. They moved to the Birchmount and Eglinton area.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, because there used to be Birchmount north of Ellesmere. They're
Right.
Birchmount. Okay, just north of Eglinton on the east side.
That's right. So
okay,
for those who know, Mandarin is the landmark on Eglinton, right? But yeah, I want to hail them up because they've been doing a lot of good work. When I was, in my 9-to-5 job, I was working with a lot of CCAS, so Children in Care, Catholic Children's Aid Society, and the organization. They were so supportive around ensuring that these young people, had a place to land, a safe place in terms of, a lot of times they're living with families that are not reflective of who they are. A lot of times, they're not Black families, and they're living in spaces and places like are way outside of Toronto. So, we partnered with CCAS to create a program specifically for them where they could come, get some culture on a Saturday. We did retreats and other ways of supporting them. And, it's just a great program. So, and it worked because of the folks at CCAS. So I want to hail up people like Dion. I want to hail up Lisa, those folks who made it happen, and others as well. But really, it's still ongoing. The need is still there.
Absolutely.
We need to support our young people, right? So, and the families and organizations that, especially if they're in care, right? Because they may not get that strong culture and caring. But yeah, I went to that event as well.
You know what? And the month's just half over. Like it seems like, I guess maybe the weather makes it seem, again, this month has seemed to be going
slow.
Oh, thank you. At least one other people thought so, said slow. Hey, what is up? Hailing up Ryan Singh. Hello, Mr. Ryan Singh. Hope you are doing fine and doing well with yourself. So good to see you here as always. Hope there is a definition of a pure content and documentary maker right there, Ryan Singh. Good to have you here. Good to have you here. Anything else that's going on in your world?
Man, there's there's a lot of things that are going on that are coming up that I'm excited about. One thing in particular is we know Black Mental Health Week happens the first week in March, I believe, but there's a lot of good things happening. I am definitely going to be promoting there's a comedy show that my partner is involved, City of Toronto, Taboo, Strides. But really, it's an opportunity to come out, have some laughter, talk about mental health, be entertained, but really looking towards pushing pieces like that. And just really gearing up for Black Mental Health Week. That's coming up as well.
Actually, I just thought about it. This coming Thursday evening, I'm hosting an event being put on by Big Brothers Big Sisters Toronto. Nice. The CEO is Station Frederick, and they're doing an event because their organization is in need of Black male mentors.
Mm-hmm.
There's a big need of there, and so they're having basically an event with some Black men from the environment here, and they've asked me to host the event and also maybe do some lead the panel discussion, but mostly host the event this Thursday. So I'm looking forward to that.
Nice.
That is going to be a good time. Okay, what Frequency Event Promotion says March 9th, we will be there.
All right. All right.
Man, so man, you and Frequency are tight.
Listen, this is just like the community of folks, right? So
okay, all right.
You weren't there, but I got to see your nice face on the banner.
Oh,
advertisement for the thing coming up. So
which,
oh yeah.
Which reminds me, are you ever going to be doing those, offering those headshots again or photo shots in the near future?
I will be offering the headshots and the photo
in the near
shots.
future. Okay.
Yeah, I will let folks know about that.
Okay.
We definitely
need one of those.
I need a new one. Folks are getting at me, so I'll put it out there. We're looking for a photo studio in Scarborough, or even in North York. If folks know of any good photo studios, let us know. Otherwise, we have other spaces, but we'll be getting to that.
So before we go to break, Ryan Singh, my brother, his wife, and my family were celebrated a few years ago by Ron Fanfare, legend, true legend, and the Desian Fanfare with a marriage award. Very nice.
I was there.
Where aren't you?
I was there. So that's the first time I went to Black Marriage Day. Right. And yeah, it was so good. I remember seeing Ryan there and his family. So it was just, again, so it's one of the events that I'm now co-promoting, with the blessings of Desian. But yeah, Black Marriage Day, look out for that as well. That's coming up in April. So yeah, just a lot of good things, so hailing up still.
Well, let's go to break. And when we come back, a person who said, I remember you. And that's all I'm going to say. I remember you.
You go.
So we'll be back in, I'd say, let's be back in. I'm just choosing what I'm going to play here. I don't know what I'm going to play. Okay, let's play this. Good morning. It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe show.
My name is Ryan Knight, one of the co-founders of the Afro-Caribbean Business Network.
It's Carolyn Nicole time. She is here to make us better.
In 15 minutes, you could accomplish so much for your health. This is where we have our morals, our values, our decision making.
I don't know if Wayne Harris is still here because he's probably commenting, but I got to tell Wayne about that because he'll go, what? All right, that is the Morning Vibe, Monday and Friday mornings, 9 a.m. with my co-host Ryan O'Neill Knight, gentleman who is the co-executive director of the Afro-Caribbean Business Network. Actually, I think last week he had a bunch of people go for tryouts or auditions for Dragon's Den.
Ooh, nice.
Because Ryan took down a bunch of entrepreneurs to see if they could get on the upcoming season for Dragon's Den, but always a pleasure. So before we go any further, subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube and hit the notification button. Also like the Dr. Vibe Show on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. If you want to advertise your business product or service on any of the platforms that I'm a part of, email me dr.vibe at the dr.vibeshow.com. And then finally, join the Black Men Can Talk Discord group. Email me again, dr.vibe at the dr.vibeshow.com. So before we get our friend up here, just want to do a little introduction of what we're going to be chatting about today. So I'm just going to put it up on the screen here. And take a listen to this, and this is what we'll be chatting about tonight. Here we go.
I think we can't hear the volume.
Yeah?
Yeah, I can't hear. So it might be playing on your end.
Okay. You hear the volume?
I cannot hear it. Nope, I can hear you. I can't hear what you're playing.
Oh.
All right. So in the meantime, in between time, again, you're at Black Men Can Talk with Dr. Vibe, Kofi Sadat, and our little brother Kofi Morris is out there today. He's in the virtual world, and he'll be making his comments and his pieces today, but he's not here to physically be in the show. We want to welcome everybody. If it's your first time, welcome. If you're a return person, we're more than happy that you came back or came black. Again, this is the show to really tune in around what Black men are saying. Go ahead,
Okay,
Dr. Vibe.
yeah, we're having a little bit of a technical. Oh, there we go. All right, now we're going to play. Sorry for the technical difficulties. Here we go.
A celebration today to launch this colorful TTC campaign called City of Belonging, celebrating Toronto's Black community builders. It includes 6 portraits created by Toronto-based Black artists to commemorate the contributions of Black community leaders.
It's incredibly important for an iconic company like the TTC to showcase that we are also celebrating and proud of the rich Black history that we have in Toronto.
People like Dr. Akua Benjamin, a social justice activist who coined the term anti-Black racism, and Adonis Huggins, who works with marginalized youth using arts to provide a platform for underrepresented voices.
I was so honored, first of all, to be part of the campaign. And honestly, I never expected a whole bus.
The 6 honorees were chosen by TTC employees working with Black community members and leaders. They are social justice activists, education advocates, and those who have made significant contributions through youth engagement and in the arts.
Especially with everything that we have been through, I feel like now is an important time to show and highlight the amazing Black successful people that have helped grow this city.
For both the honorees and the artists, the focus was the importance of sharing the stories of Black community leaders, especially to the city's youth.
It's important for our young people to see that the community members are recognized. It really encourages them and motivates them to aspire to whatever they want to achieve.
The hope at the TTC is to foster a more inclusive and accessible transit system, ensuring that young people and communities across Toronto feel a sense of belonging, connection, and opportunity.
Well, you can go to the TTC website to read the full stories about all of these honorees, or if you see one of these buses, you can scan the QR code. In Toronto, Audra Brown, City News.
All right, so we are blessed and very highly favored to have one of the artists who are part of that great project. Jason O'Brien is in the house. What is up, Jay?
Good evening, gentlemen. Good evening. Good evening. Thank you for having me. Happy Black History Month. Happy African Heritage Month. It's a beautiful month to be celebrating. So thank you for having me this evening.
There you go. Wonderful. Good to see you again. So definitely I met Jason at the launch of the TTC Black History Month celebration. So it was just wonderful to see, young Black artists who was, making his portrait specifically for Adonis Huggins. I mean, artistically, it was a beautiful piece you put on, but it had so much meaning. It was so deep. We got a chance to talk as well a little bit about it. So definitely, maybe starting, let people know a little bit about yourself, who you are, kind of your background, and then we'll get into a little bit more questions.
Sure. Yeah. In first coming on this evening, it was a pleasant surprise to see that Dr. Vibe and I actually have history. We go way, way, way back. We worked for the same company many years ago, so it's a pleasure to actually see him coming full circle. So I'm very happy to be in this space with you. This is great. So for myself, again, Toronto-based artist. I've been, practicing my craft and, for over 20 plus years. I was born and raised here in Toronto. My parents come from Trinidad and Tobago, so they hail from the Caribbean, So I'm a first generation Canadian born in Toronto. As far as my artistic journey, after high school, I went to the Ontario College of Art and Design University, and that's where I had gotten my formal training from. I also did 2 years at Sheridan College as well too during that time. So a number of years post-secondary to learn my craft in drawing and painting and so on and so forth. I first kind of got into showing my work outside of school. I got invited to have my stuff in art auctions locally here in Toronto, usually around Black History Month. But most of the art auctions were associated to young Black artists in the city, and the work was primarily Black themed. But so that was where I first got my exposure. And over the past 10, 15, 20 years, I've kind of steadily been in art exhibits. I was part of a big art exhibit that happened at the Royal Ontario Art Museum. Royal Ontario Museum, where I sold my largest piece to Scotiabank. It was over about 9 feet by 3 feet. It was 3 canvases put together. It was called When My Soul Dreams, and that was my largest sort of sale to date. It was north of 10 grand, so that was pretty impressive. And yeah, and I think I just continue to practice my work and show up in various art auctions and artist collaborative exhibits, and people grew to know my work here in Toronto. I think when I really got a big break in the stateside was when producers for Oprah Winfrey's show, Queen Sugar, when the dramatic series, I think, started back in 2016, they were looking for artists' artwork to have in the background for the sets of one of their characters. And the producers came across my artwork. They loved the 2 pieces, and we signed agreements to allow them to have it in the show. And ever since then, stateside, my work sort of exploded.
Nice.
So I do sell a lot of limited edition prints of my work, and most of the sales predominantly are coming from the States for people who are looking for my work.
Nice.
So I've had the blessings of having some great accomplishments. Just recently, I partnered with Astro Sankofa and the city of Brampton, and we erected the very first public permanent art installation at Emancipation Park, and I was one of the contributing artists to that project.
Nice.
So again, that was a huge milestone, and most recently, the Black History Month TTC campaign, which you shared some great footage on. That was a really, really amazing project to be a part of, and I'm happy that my artwork was well received.
Yeah, for sure. So let me just kind of maybe take it back. Before your career is now exploding, you've gone to school.
Yes.
As a young Black man, what kind of inspired you to get into art, right? And to kind of pursue it, on a more serious level, right? So, but what kind of inspired you, both? If you can think back then, to get into art.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't even think it's a question of what inspired me to get into art. I think art was always in me. So it was just a matter of, it was always part of my identity, part of my character. It became part of how people knew me. It was probably one of my most defining characteristics. So, my father was a very talented artistic person, and I had an older, cousin who was also a really good artist as well too. And I think they were probably my earliest influences. But yeah, I think it was just always a natural inclination that I had to be an artist and to sort of express myself visually all throughout public school, high school. And, it was in my later, high school years when my art teacher had sort of planted the seed of me considering, continually sort of continuing on with my studies in a post-secondary art institution, right, where I can really sort of hone in on my skills and just kind of get better at my craft, because I think he saw that I had a lot of natural talent and ability and capability. So I think I was really encouraged to move in that direction, and I did.
Nice.
Good. Just want to catch up with some comments here from the audience. So Kofi Coates says, "Big up, Hall listeners." And also, Black Nerd Talk says, "Glad to finally catch you guys live for the first time after 5 attempts." And Kofi Coates says, "Trini."
There you go. Coming to the bone.
All right. So My first conversation piece is, how has your style evolved over the years from traditional acrylic painting to digital art?
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, I mean, all throughout school, and even when I was showing my work, publicly, I was always working in acrylic paint, large canvases, so drawing, painting, different multi-mediums that I would use in my work. But I was really predominantly known for my paintings. But then COVID hit, and the world changed, and so did my daily routines. It kind of disrupted everything, and my ability to have time and the space to be able to set up my paints and set up my canvas, and just my setup alone in itself takes at least an hour, 40 minutes. I live in a condo downtown with my wife, my daughter, and our little dog. So it's a shared space. I don't have a dedicated space to produce my work when I need to. So I need to, be mindful and efficient that I put it away when I'm not using it. When I am using it, I got to take it all out. So during COVID, it became very difficult for me to do that. There just wasn't the time. Everyone was home at the same time. So there just wasn't the time, the space for me to kind of go through that. And it just, because my windows of opportunity to be creative and create are very limited or constrained with a lot of other things that I have going on. So that's when I decided to make the switch to digital. I had always contemplated with the idea of working, digitally on an iPad and seeing how my work would translate from traditional over to that medium. And COVID just sort of accelerated me in that direction. And I, finally stopped procrastinating, and I kind of dove in with both feet. It allowed me a lot more flexibility to kind of jump into my creativity at the moment that I had an opportunity or jump out. It gives me it's a much more forgiving medium in that if I happen to make a mistake or I need to change direction, I can do so very quickly. I have access to literally every color that I can possibly imagine in the color spectrum, which is incredible. Because working as a traditional painter, you have access to only so many colors. And if you have to purchase, more paint and some of those really unique, vibrant colors, they are not cheap. They cost a lot of money. Some of those jars, $50 to $100 to $200, right?
Wow.
So yeah, and I was also able just to go from concept to product in a much quicker timeline as well too. So that afforded me a lot of benefits there as well. So, but it's been good. Do I miss my traditional painting and drawing? I do, and I long to get back there, and I intend to. However, I can say that switching over to digital and working in a different medium and applying those same, techniques and applications in my digital, renderings, I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot of things about color composition. So it's been very, very good. And to this point right now, I'm 100% working digitally, and I'm still learning as much as I can, because there's still a lot that I don't know, but it's been good. It's been good for now.
Nice. So as you talking about your working digitally, just putting it out there, what impact does AI have on yourself as an artist or in the art world, right? So is AI a thing that, let's say, someone like myself who has no visual artistic skills or inclination, is that something that's either of concern to you, or is that something that you just what's your thoughts on AI in art?
It's a tough one, right? I mean, there's a lot of different viewpoints and stances on what AI is and how it's going to impact not only artists but just our world in general, and just the way we live and operate within our environments on a day-to-day basis, right? As an artist, I think that it's something, every time there's an advancement or an evolution in technology, I think it puts pressure on us to either embrace it or get left behind.
Mm-hmm.
And the bottom line is, you can have a lot of, sort of moral stances and viewpoints on AI and how it's going to impact art. But while you're doing that, it's evolving and it's going to pass you by. And I think as artists, it's incumbent upon us to, open ourselves up to trying new things, new mediums. It's not to say that you have to make that the only way that you work, but I think there's elements of AI that can be used to help accelerate certain parts of the process when you're thinking of trying to generate ideas, especially in the ideation process, right? I know, for instance, for myself, writing in cards has always been a challenge, or knowing, the perfect message to give someone on their birthday or for an anniversary. And you got to think, okay, what am I going to write? AI is an amazing sort of resource to kind of, give the right prompts, and then, it'll give you an output that allows you to take that and then just, tweak it or customize it as you want. But the time that you save by having access to a tool like that, I think, can afford people a lot of benefits. As an artist, I think for us as artists, it can help with the ideation, process, kind of getting us off the ground. AI as well too is something that in itself, in how you use it and manipulate it, is an art form. It all stems from the prompts that you put into the search engine that will then give you the output you're looking for. Now, is that artwork yours? No, it's not, because we know that the technology itself is scraping, millions and millions and millions and millions of sort of, bits of information off of the web, and it's kind of, bringing it together in this, in this output that you're receiving. But I think it is something that can be used to be added as an addition to your work. And I think so long as it's used, as reference, to help you kind of bring into your work and then shape it or recustomize it however you need to, I see no problem with that. That is, what I do with some of my work as well too, because again, time is of the essence. And when you have to sort of save time so that you can, put it into other parts of creating the artwork, then I think it's a necessity in some instances.
I like it. Well, I'm going to add one more thing, Dr. Vibe, if you're okay, I'll ask one more question. Just on the other side of this, right? Because we often talk about the concept of the Sankofa or the Sankofa bird, where, it's looking backwards into the past, but the feet are pointing forward. So we know that, you talked about using up-to-date mediums and being aware of technology, but what role does culture or history play in your art as well? And how do you use it? Because I noticed when you did the portrait with Adonis Huggins, you were kind of dealing with that balance. So what role does like history or knowing your history or culture play in you creating some of your art?
Yeah. Well, it plays an important role, right? Because I think, as an artist, one of the greatest powers that we have is the ability to tell stories, to storytell, right? To take ownership of a narrative and sort of present that in the way that you see it, in the way that you sort of align with it emotionally and mentally and what have you, right? So, I think when it comes to, and I'm sorry, I'm trying to get myself back on track.
That's fine. Go ahead, take your time.
Sorry, can you just sort of restate the question again?
I was just really asking, what role does history and culture play
in
your creation of art?
Yes. So the story is very important. Specifically in the portrait that I did for this year's Black History Month, the honoree that I was assigned was Adonis Huggins, as you mentioned, and I think you showed it in the footage just prior to me coming in. Adonis is the executive and artistic director of the Focus Media Arts program in Regent Park. So, for instance, in how I illustrated his portrait, I paid. If you look on the actual art itself, he has stripes of color that sort of show right here on the ends of the chain, the medallion that's hanging over his neck. Right. So when I designed his piece, I focused on sort of the past, present, and future. So the past, these lines of color, or swatches of color, represent the Caribbean islands that his parents come from, which was Antigua and St. Kitts. So paying homage to the past, I showed a bit of his heritage there. On his chest, there's a West African Ndinkra symbol that I chose to integrate into the piece. And the Ndinkra symbol is reflective of a chain link that represents human relations, someone who is strong with the community, someone who's a community builder, which again aligns with the work that Adonis does in Regent Park through the Focus Media Arts Group, right? Because he works with at-risk youth and marginalized youth and help them to sort of tell their stories, right, through different media arts, and gives them a platform. So that's very reflective of what he does. And in looking towards the future through the lens of sort of an Afrofuturistic depiction, which is, as you can see, he looks like someone from the future. He looks like someone who's otherworldly. He could be from Wakanda, but he looks regal. He looks like someone who's, you know, who's a leader. So the monocle that I created over the left part of his eye is reflective of his keen eyesight. It's reflective of an aperture, a camera aperture, because his background is in film. But it's also sort of like a falcon's focused eye on the future, looking at the horizon and sort of seeing, you know, the great things that are on the near horizon. And he's imagining how he's going to take him and others in the community with him there. So again, adding in those elements of storytelling into the piece, I think give it a bit more dimension and a bit more power, and it makes it a bit more authentic to the person who it is that I've created the portrait for, right? So that's it. And I titled the portrait "The Millennium Falcon." So I thought that was a little nod to Star Wars, and
there you go.
Looked, and I thought that was appropriate.
So we are having a great conversation here with Jason O'Brien, one of the artists from the Black History Month project for the Toronto Transit Commission. So definitely have comments here. Black Nerd Talk says, when my wife and I were living in a condo, she was experiencing the same issue as you are with moving stuff around, etc. And we also have Symbolic 360 saying, shouts out, fam.
Nice.
All right. There we go. There we go. Let me ask, how do Black Afro-Caribbean culture, literature, music, and fashion influence your artistic process?
Yeah. Well, all of that is just a nice way of saying that creativity is triggered by a lot of different things, right? What moves me is the arts, and the arts come in a lot of different forms. So generally, when I create my pieces, I create my pieces from the title first. Strangely enough, I have the title in my mind first before I even have the piece, and based off of the title, that sort of, you know, it sort of kind of stands out to me or sticks in my mind. Sometimes it can come from a line in a book or a poem or a lyric in a song, title of a song. You know, it could come from an image in a magazine that I see, the title of a book. It could be a lot of different things. So so words play a huge part in the work that I create, because when I create my work, I also attach a very, you know, clear definition of what it is I'm trying to communicate or say or depict. Again, not to say that whatever viewer sees my work, if they have a different feeling or interpretation of it, that's completely valid as well too. But I always like to give my audience an insight to what it is I'm feeling or trying to communicate through words in the descriptions of the pieces. So words play a big part in my work. And they come to me through all those different mediums. I look for inspirations, and it comes when it comes. And I have a notepad that has just sort of a long list of all these titles for pieces of artwork that I want to do. And I tell you, I write them down, because when I need to think of what my next piece is, I go to the list and I look at the titles and I see which title just kind of is the one that makes me catch the vibe, and I go with that.
Gosh. Many of your works feature heroic subjects. What do these figures represent to you?
Yeah, so in my work, I think a common aesthetic that I do have sort of that central figure that's very prominent, usually a very strong close up. I like the immediacy of making my work large and sort of grand and almost commanding of attention, where I wouldn't want you to be able to walk past my piece or my work without stopping to regard it. So I create these hero pieces or centralized figures in a lot of my work, and they're the ones who are sort of delivering the sentiment, the spirit, the message of whatever it is that the artwork it is supposed to be about. And for instance, for the city of Brampton, the artwork that I created, which was called Emancipation Reigns, and the centralized figure that I created in there was sort of emulated after or fashioned after the Statue of Liberty. And it was a very strong, beautiful, proud, Black woman with her chin up, looking into sort of like, with her eyes closed. And she had this incredible headdress of different, tropical flowers and leaves, and it just sort of bloomed out. And she was wrapped in the Black Confederate flag, so the red, the black and the green, and she just had this regal stance about her, and I wanted her to look powerful, and I wanted her to look, like she was just powerful, regal, and she was resilient, someone who was overcome, but still has the grace and dignity attached to her, right? So again, that's a good example of a hero character that I have in my piece that kind of embodies everything that I want the piece to sort of communicate to the audience, right? So yeah, that's what I like. And again, with this piece, I see you have it up there. Yeah, so that's the Millennium Falcon piece that I did, and again, centralized figure, very, very powerful, and yeah, I think it resonates well.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
I want. Go ahead, Paul.
Go ahead. Along that same lines, talking about hero. Are there any heroes, mentors that you have in the artistic world that influence you or have influenced you?
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, artists, I would say from afar, no one that I've actually ever really met. No, I shouldn't say that. So, I mean, locally, I do have a lot of, heroes, so, other artists who are doing their thing here in the city, but if I was to, kind of name some of the ones that do, Kader Nelson, as an African-American artist who's really, really prominent, really, really incredibly award-winning, celebrated artist. He's incredible. I love his work. Thomas Blackshear was another one. Let's see. There's a lot. I follow them on Instagram, but I can't remember them off the top of my head. But there are a lot of them that are out there. I mean, I love a lot of the stuff that's being produced out there, not only locally here in Toronto, but some of our really talented Black artists here, but in the States as well too, over in Europe. Like there's a lot of artists doing some incredible stuff, and I'm just inspired by the collective creativity that I see out there in the world, and I like to be part of that vibration and that frequency. And I think anyone is an inspiration to me as long as I look at the work and I'm feeling it. So
nice. I love it. And
speaking about how did the gig come with the TTC? There's got to be a story behind that, because we see the end product, but there must have been a process and journey.
Always a process and journey, right? these things don't happen in a vacuum, right?
No.
It really kind of followed up on the heels of the Brampton, City and Emancipation Park, installation that we had done. Again, it was Astro Sankofa that reached out to me, and I had collaborated with them on some other, smaller projects prior to, but when the City of Brampton project came up, then they reached out to me and they asked me to be one of the contributing artists at the behest of the creative director, who was sort of, creating the overall project. I produced, I think, a very powerful piece for that, which is the Emancipation Reigns piece that I spoke to you about. And I think after the success of how well that went, I kind of retained my connection to them. And when this opportunity came up, they thought that I would be a great selection to be one of the portrait artists for this year's Black History Month honorees. So, and I think it just came from, showcasing my ability to be able to do really, nice, powerful, emotionally charged, portraits depicting, Black heroes and Black subjects or people of color. So yeah, and again, super, super grateful, because again, this is a whole different canvas and platform publicly for my artwork to be, accessible to a larger larger audience here within Toronto. So I'm very, very grateful and blessed to have my work, shown on the sides of a TTC bus that I've grown up on riding since, I was able to ride the TTC as a kid. So very powerful and very, very happy. And as you can see, I met Adonis for the first time at the launch of the TTC campaign, and he absolutely loved it. Like, it was, I think, beyond what he had expected. To be able to see himself like that depicted on the side of a bus was just, it blew him away. And I was really I felt a lot of gratification from his sense of how pleased he was. So that was really good. And very happy for that. It's good.
Sadat, you want to continue? I got more if you need.
For sure. And again, even the process, like being there with both of you and kind of only hearing that it's the first time that you're meeting each other.
Yeah, and you were right there. You were right there. Yeah.
That process was interesting, right? Like,
that's right. Yeah.
To paint somebody and then meet them there for the first time. And then I want to kind of give flowers where flowers are. Definitely, brother. You are definitely one of the heroes that, I think a lot of young artists can look up to, because your work is not just, just for art's sake, but you can see the depth in what you put in there, and even in your analysis, and the way you speak. So, give yourself the flowers, or we give you the flowers, because that's something that we want to practice in the now, and not wait till later. So just giving thanks for that. Go ahead, Dr. Vibe.
Thank you.
All right. A lot of your work expresses love, spirituality, strength, and resilience. What draws you to those themes?
You know what? Because there are themes that are that align with the human condition, right? They're universal themes that we all experience. It doesn't matter, what color you are, what your beliefs are. It doesn't matter, they're all conditions of the human condition. And I think for myself, when I think about the artwork that I create, I want it to be transformative. I want it to move. I want it to transform the viewer. I want it to spark questions. And I want it to also reflect back to them something that they find familiar, I've been really fortunate over the years to get, some great, feedback and testimonials from people who've, been collectors of my work, or admirers of my work. And, I think the common theme amongst a lot of the feedback that I've received is they really attach themselves or connect to the emotional undertones and sometimes overtones that I have in my work, that it really speaks to them, speaks to a certain time in their life, that they were going through a life situation or scenario that my work seemed to reflect or embody everything that they were feeling or aspirationally wanted to feel, or, how they wanted to see themselves. It's incredible. I mean, I've had people who've sent me, images of tattoos that they've gotten on to their skin because, the work had such a profound meaning for them, that they wanted to bond with it physically. I think my most famous piece to date. I mean, if every artist was to have a Mona Lisa, my Mona Lisa would be Rainbow. Rainbow is the one that was on Queen Sugar with Oprah Winfrey. It is probably my marquee, without a doubt, my marquee, image or painting that is most sold in my limited edition prints. It's the most sought after out of all my work. And for whatever reason, that piece resonates with people in a way that I've never seen, and not only women, but men as well too. Like that piece, there's something about it that there's just a lot of power in it. That piece there is Eden's Bloom. That was one of my other ones. That's when I started working digitally, fully. Yeah. So I think people just, they connect to what moves them, and emotion moves people, and it's something that it's a language that people immediately understand. And I love depicting and capturing those feelings. And when I do so, I usually do it. Not usually, but I do it through the lens of what I interpret the Black experience to be, right? Through someone who's the subject matter of someone who's a Black man or a Black woman. I try to create something that speaks to people, right? It's the same way in closing that someone may have a certain song that they put on when they're feeling, low, or they're missing someone, or they're heartbroken, and it just kind of fills their cup again. I want my work to be the same sort of effect, right? If there's something that you need to kind of fill up your cup, to rejuvenate your soul, to make you feel something again, I want my work to kind of serve as a catalyst for that kind of thing, right? So
just out of curiosity, I'll say, is Rainbow on the website? Because I'd like to show it to you. Is it in any specific?
Yeah. If you go under paintings.
Okay, let's.
Yeah, and scroll down. There she is on the left. You'll see
this
the
here.
Yeah, that's her. That's the one.
Okay, so this is the one.
That's it.
All right.
Yeah.
So it looks like. Is it Rainbow?
Rainbow.
The character. I mean, from.
No. It's just the title of the piece itself. But
okay.
It's not fashioned after any one person or anything like that.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. And that was done on acrylic. That was acrylic on canvas, like 3 feet by 4 feet, large canvas. So to see it in person was very impressive. Like there was a lot of texture in her hair that you're not obviously going to be able to appreciate through a flat image. But yeah, she has a really profound effect on people whenever I've exhibited her. So, and I guess there's no question, because the producers of Queen Sugar immediately said this is the piece that they wanted in the background of their sets, and it was. And there were some clients and collectors who watched Queen Sugar religiously, who sent me images of my work that popped up in the shot, with the actors kind of in the middle of their scene and stuff. So there's people who are looking out for my work, but it really blew my mind. Yes. How many people focus on details and things that are in the background, and then look to seek me out to find out how they could get that piece of artwork that they saw in the show, in the scene. And that amazes me that people even pay that much attention to what's in the background enough to sort of seek it out. So that was cool.
Beautiful.
So Kofi Coach has a question, says, graffiti had an influence on us growing up in the hip hop culture. How was it as a Black artist pleading on a TTC bus?
Legally. You just you're spray painting illegally. How did it feel like, my work is, I don't have to sneak on and do something on it, right? So
how do I feel about it?
Yeah.
So how do I feel about my artwork being on the side of a bus?
Well, also, he's just saying the fact that usually things are like spray painted illegally.
Right.
Now your work is legal.
It's legit. Yeah.
It's legit, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's great. You know what I mean? That I know no one's gonna mess with it. I think as an artist, and especially as a Black artist, platforms are important. Right. Having a stage is important. Having the ability to amplify your voice is important. which is why the work that Astro Sankofa is doing is important, because they partner with talented, emerging, and established artists in Toronto and Canada and abroad, to give them opportunities to have that stage to amplify their voice, right? To amplify a narrative, to take control of a narrative, and to really celebrate and expose Black excellence for what it is. And because they're able to have partnerships with other institutions and companies in the private sector and public sector to have these types of collaborations, it is extremely important. And I think for not only myself, but I think for other artists of color, the more collaborations and campaigns that we can have like this with other, recognized institutions, civil, municipal, not-for-profit, private sector, the more collaborations we can have like this to have artists showcase their work and amplify their voice, the better it'll be. And I hope that as an artist who is Black, this serves as an example for how successful these types of collaborations can be. And I hope that it opens up the doors for a lot more other talented, undiscovered, artists who want to be able to get on that stage and showcase their work and see what they can do, because there's so much untapped talent, so much in the city, right? And I think one thing that the city can do a better job of is celebrating visuals in the city, not only on buses, but on the sides of buildings and empty walls and alleyways that reflect, the character and the spirit and the diversity and the inclusion of what makes Toronto, what makes us great, right? I don't know if you gentlemen have been to Philadelphia, but I mean, I've been to Philadelphia a number of times, and have you seen murals?
Yes.
In their urban land. Have you seen?
They don't play.
Yeah.
They don't play. That's next level.
It's next level, but at the same time, that's low-hanging fruit. Like, you could commission muralists, you can get artists in the city to be able to, add more character and add more color to our city and give it some character and something that reflects, the culture, and the collective identity of what it is to live in Toronto and what we look like and what values we have and what diversity means to us. There's so many things that we can do, so this is just scratching the surface. But again, I hope it serves as an example for other opportunities that'll open up to allow us to really put our imprint on this city and the urban landscape and on different canvases and make art accessible. Make it accessible to the masses and make our message and our voice accessible to the masses so that, we can have a dialogue and we can transform and we can showcase our Black excellence.
Love it.
How do you see the role of art preserving and celebrating Black history and identity?
How do I see art serving as
preserving the role of art preserving and celebrating Black history and identity?
Yeah. Well, again, art is documenting, right? When a piece of artwork is created, then it serves as a piece of documentation for something that, was crafted, created, imagined by an artist who wants to leave an impression of what it means to be Black, or what, or what Black culture is, or, what the Black experience is. The more of us that are continue to create artwork that reflect us means that we have control of a narrative, right? We have control of our narrative, and we package it and we present it the way that we want to be seen and we want to be perceived, right? Because we all know that there's a lot of, if we leave it to other forces, external forces out there to control our narrative, we know where that ends up. So I think it's incumbent upon us as artists to be champions of what we feel helps to elevate, advance, and evolve us as a culture, not only now in the present, but where we want to see ourselves in the near future and in the distant future, right? We're the visionaries who can create artwork that becomes aspirational, goals and directions for where we want to take ourselves as a community. So I think artists play an extremely important role because we document history and we document culture and we document us. And I think that's a sacred role to play. And it's one that I take seriously, and I feel, very blessed to be able to contribute to the larger messages that are out there.
Beautiful.
What advice would you give to young Black artists who are looking to establish themselves in this industry?
Don't be discouraged. Continue the work, even when people aren't looking, especially when people aren't looking. This is the time that you need to really take time to enjoy, figure out your process, try different mediums, try different, subject matters, find out who you are as an artist, where you feel most comfortable your voice lies in however it is that you do, whether it's painting, whether it's drawing, whether it's digital, whether it's textiles, whether it's fashion apparel, whatever your choice is. As a graphic designer, just take time, go through the process, try different, approaches and different mediums, and find a lane where you feel comfortable and you feel like you're able to find a voice. Just do the work, just continue to do the work, even when eyes aren't on you, especially when eyes aren't on you, because, as long as you're continuing to produce work, you will soon find that you'll have a body of work. And that body of work tells a story about who you are, right? The type of color palettes you like, how you like to create your compositions, the type of subjects that you like to paint or draw or depict. It tells a lot about who you are, and someone can look at that collective body of work and then get a certain vibe from who you are as an artist, and what it is that, because a lot of times when you're in the work and you're in the creative mode, you're not seeing the big picture of all of this and how all of these pieces of work that you create add up to a larger mosaic. You don't know.
Right.
A lot of that is in hindsight once you have the collection of works, right? So, but the reason why I say is continue to pursue it and not to stop is that opportunities will come across your path, and you want to be ready, right? You want to know that you're someone who has been creative and has been creating, so that if an opportunity does come your way, you're ready to take advantage of it. And when people find you and want to know more about who you are and the work you produce, you want to have work waiting there for them to be able to consume and to engage with, to be like, whoa, who is this, right? So that's it. Consistency, and finding what speaks to you, where you find inspirations from, what brings you joy, but just enjoy the process as much as you can, and find mentors. Find mentors, and even if it's not someone that you can be face to face with, find mentors in magazines and in art magazines and in podcasts, and just on social media, people's work, who you like, who you want to follow. Those are all mentors as well too, right? So be open.
All right, 2 quick questions to wrap up with. First thing, if you could collaborate with any artist, past or present, who would it be and why?
Love it,
man. That's a good one. Jeez. What I like to collaborate with. I would love to do a collaboration with Basquiat. That would be cool. Jean-Michel Basquiat would be really cool. And the reason why I say that is because his work is so different from mine, in the style and approach that he takes with his, graffiti, abstract, chaotic abstract, approaches, and how he sort of pieces together his compositions and tells a story. I would love to work with him because I think he would definitely, put me in a situation where I have to really stretch myself. I imagine our conversations would be very colorful. And he's someone who's very unconventional in his approach at the time for how he sees art, but he was very, very intelligent and very intentional in what he did, even though it may not look that way just based on the style and how his artwork looked, right? But he was a very, very intelligent, genius for good reason. And I would love to do a collaboration with him for sure. Yeah, because I think not only would that work be worth a lot, but I would be very interested to see what it would look like in the end.
And last conversation piece, what's one message you'd like to leave with those who follow and admire your work?
Stay with me. I have more coming. Follow me on Instagram, Jason_O'Brien_gallery_live. And right now I'm working towards a solo exhibit of new works from all of the new digital works that I've been doing. So I'm working towards that right now and getting all of that work together. But yeah, just stay with me, and I got some really great stuff coming down the line. So, and I appreciate all the support and encouragement from everyone throughout the years on social media, in person, past, present, future. I love everybody, and I take it as a blessing knowing that I have an audience who appreciates my work.
Great.
Any final words, Sadat? This has been amazing. It's outstanding. It's out of bounds. Any last words for our brother?
Oh, for sure. Thank you very much, for what you've offered, what you keep doing, your inspiration. I definitely see you as, a leader in this realm, and someone to inspire, young people that are coming up that want to get into this realm. So thank you for that. Thank you for accommodating. If you say lastminute.com.
Oh, good.
To the brother, the bat signal, I threw off the hat.
That's all right.
I'm running.
Yeah. When you said the bat signal down, I'm like, I'm coming. Because you were the first person that approached me that day on the campaign launch. You were the very first person, right? You gave me your card, and you said you'd reach out, and I said I'd be waiting, and I'm glad I did.
Yeah, that's it. Yes.
Jay, we will be in touch now since we have rekindled.
Yes.
Journey, and also to anything you have to come up with. You have a home here to talk about it.
Hey, I love that. Thank you so much, gentlemen.
You have a home here. So
I appreciate the space and the support. Thank you.
Absolutely. So as we always like to say, don't just manage your time, manage your energy. Give yourself grace. You're not making history, make money, but hopefully you're going to make both, and always make it better.
Yes, indeed. Gentlemen,
Blessings,
thank you very much.
Be well and keep the faith.
Thank you. Great job.
All right. Good stuff. So there is his contact information. Absolutely fantastic. Also, if you want to find out more information about the TTC honoring Black community leaders during Black History Month, the link is there. On my platforms, all that information is on the YouTube and Facebook channel, and also you can screenshot it if you're doing stuff live or on the replay. If you want to get a hold of Kofi, there's all his information there, plus the YouTube. Can't forget that. The other Kofi, Mr. Morris, he was watching, checking out. There's his information. We're still waiting for his YouTube channel. We're still waiting for that. We're still waiting for that YouTube channel. And also for myself, website, the DrVibeshow.com, YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn, The Dr. Vibe Show, Instagram at The Dr. Vibe Show, X/Twitter, drvibeshow.com, email dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com. You can watch replays of this epic conversation all over the place on all my platforms that I'm part of, and you got Paul's information also on his Facebook and YouTube page. Any final comments to that before we let you jump? Because it sounds like you got to go eat. If I get this feeling, you got to go eat.
Listen, this was a magical show. I loved it, brother. It
was amazing.
To connect with folks that are, they're doing things and we don't usually see them, on certain realms, or I don't usually. So I'll be continuing to look for guests that
absolutely
are introducing them to this world. And as usual, thank you, my brother, for taking this wild ride.
No, man. Oh no, look. It's not been a minute. It's been a day since I've seen Jason O'Brien. So we go way back.
Way back.
Way back. So this is a beautiful rekindling and have him part of the journey, and just reach out to him. And I have a strong feeling he's going to be back on this platform. I have a very strong feeling on that. So as we cash it out. As we say, live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get small to get stronger. Block assumptions and aim bigger, aim better, aim higher and wider. Love, faith, and respect. Don't just manage your time, manage your energy. Remember to give yourself grace. And if you're not making money, make history. If you can make both, even better, and make it better. We will catch you next week. God bless. Peace to all. Keep the faith and walk good. Ashe.
With our parents, they're like, I have nothing to teach you. I don't know nothing. And they know
my dad's at that point now. It says,
That's my point.
But I'm saying, no, Dad, you got lots more to give. You know how cold it is when these two brothers in their yard.
You know that. You know that. You don't know that, bro. You know
No
that.
joke. That's fact.
I know we all have these things, but you know what? My go-to is this thing.
Wow.
Black book is in the
Black book.
Men Talk, Black Book.